welcome to Reddit on Reddit, the internet's auditory version of Reddit. I'm Nelson Allingham, joined by Michael Campbell.
Thank you, Nelson. Thank you. It's so nice to be back to some semblance of normality on this show.
Yep.
I think the same cannot be said for some countries in the world right now.
Yes. Or a country.
A country in the world.
In the world.
Yeah.
We are, of course, talking about New Zealand.
Yep.
They've run out of chips. And
Or, as they call them, chops.
chops. And they're pretty upset about it.
Yeah.
And I'm with them, Cambo. my heart is with them. No, very good point, Cambo. And something I was going to bring up, I was like very uncertain as to whether it'd be the first post of the show. I was like, oh, maybe let's just talk about it a little bit vaguely and get into something else that's
But in
cooler.
in some ways, a lot of our listenership comes from America.
Yeah.
And genuinely, I do want to know, how is everyone doing over there?
Yeah.
Is everyone okay? But also maybe this can be a nice distraction this week.
Yeah, that's right.
To not think about the crumbling of a nation.
Give us a few minutes to talk about how fucked up it is.
Yeah.
And then after that, smooth sailing for you guys. We're like a warm winter's breeze after that. Warm winter's breeze?
Well, yeah, because it's unnatural.
Yeah. It's unnatural and jarring.
Yeah, it shouldn't happen.
And you want it to stop. Okay. But yeah, there's obviously some crazy riots going on in America. And you know what? Really, genuinely, I find this the most terrifying thing, far more terrifying than COVID-19. I think the riots I'm going to say the protests, rather, are justified. The looting is insane.
Yeah.
And people have really lost a lot of points there for the kind of
that's the thing.
good civilians that are trying to protest the right.
It's like it muddies the waters of a message that's quite good and clear.
Exactly.
And then they just get aligned with this looting that's going on that kind of has nothing to do with it other than it's opportunistic.
Yeah, exactly. Which is a real shame because the corruption of power in the police force is it's not even something new and not even necessarily limited to America as well, I'd say. I think there's always abuses of power where power is given.
Yeah.
In Australia, we've definitely had instances like that too.
Yeah, ours is mainly the mining corporations.
Yeah.
The mining corporations essentially run our country and influence all of our politics. And just recently, they destroyed like a 400,000-year-old Aboriginal.
Oh, yeah. I actually only heard about that today.
Yeah. Like it was like a
Caves.
site. Yeah. And they just did it because they wanted to mine there.
And then they said sorry.
So that's fine.
Yeah, that's good.
So, there's corruption, not just in America, but worldwide.
Yeah. But even specifically when it comes down to police. And so I think that this is really scary. It got to a really scary point where obviously because police are necessary, but if they are the most corrupt and abuse their power and, kill someone when they absolutely don't deserve it, that's just such a horrible place for the country or that area to be in, and it really seems as though a lot of the videos are coming out. Obviously it started very heavily in Minneapolis, but then other police forces around the country, while trying to kind of monitor the protests, have done just as well, maybe not just as bad because I don't think anybody's been dead yet, but have really had a totalitarian kind of approach, pushing out peaceful protesters. I'm sure there's some dickheads out there. We already mentioned there's some people looting, which is just insane, but there's people that are protesting peacefully, and again, this power is being abused, and to me, this just seems like a really scary place to be in when the law kind of breaks down. You've got a huge problem on your hands.
It seems almost unreal.
Yeah.
That some of the images that I've seen are totalitarian style oppression and rioting and but it just makes me so interested. I'm not all that interested in US politics, but it makes me so interested in the next election. Like, what are people going to do? Because will they just get more steadfast in their ways, or will they recognize something needs to change? I'm really interested in how that's going to go.
And it's such a culmination of so many things. Like, we obviously give Trump a lot of crap, and we definitely don't like him, but it didn't start with him necessarily. Some of these underlying problems, he's probably made things worse, and it's definitely not helped. But
it's that thing where it's like, because it's all these things about like racial bias and all kinds of stuff are bubbling up. And it's just the worst guy to have in the main office when that happened.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
it couldn't have been a worse time for this to have happened. And maybe there is a culmination of the two. Who knows? But it's like, he didn't start this police oppression thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's just the worst guy to have in charge.
Was there
when it came to?
Was there anything bad in like the early 90s? Like, because the maximum term is 8 years, right?
Yeah.
Well, maybe they should have elected Trump in like 1990. Was there anything wrong? 1990, 1998?
I mean, there was the Gulf War and all the oil invasions and stuff like that.
Yeah, he probably would have made that worse too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. It's really scary. It's like, it's bringing, I think, certain things to light.
Yeah.
And again, like, I'm really conscious of the fact that we do kind of pointing out, like, oh, America has these flaws, but we don't have anything against like the American people as such. No. Like, I think, like, I just don't want people to think that this is like two Australians talking about how we're so much better, because it's not that at all.
Oh yeah, we got a laundry list of problems over here.
Yeah, that's right.
We're throwing rocks from a glass house.
Yeah, that's right. I've heard you meant to do that. But it's just, I think, something prevalent in today. And of course, America being a superpower, it's kind of hard to not talk about these things and be critical of how, some things are run. But it's not. We know that obviously a lot of the listeners aren't. Probably part of the problem here.
I guess the selfishly vested interest that we have is sometimes Australia's been accused of being like America Junior. So when America goes a little more conservative, traditionally Australia will also go a little more conservative at that time. Then when they go a little more liberal, Australia will kind of follow suit. I think we've come to a intersecting, like, the paths are going different ways now. Yeah. Because I don't want to speak for the country, but I think we are a fair way away from like police state riots at the moment.
You say that, Canberra, but
you watch.
I'm ready to beat up a cop. I don't know about you.
But yeah, America, we'll get off your country now for a little while.
Yeah. But okay, just get back on it. No, the issue. No, what I think is really a scary potential is that if there will be a point, depending on what happens in the next few days, weeks, months, there could very much be a point where people realize that the power of the many outweigh the power of the few. And I think that's going to be a super scary time.
Yeah, you look at stuff like the Russian Revolution.
Exactly. Because that's kind of what it's like, very close, it's like building to that point, Like you look back in history books and you'll be like, this is the point at which it's coming, Anyway, all right, let's get into some fun stuff.
It's a bit of fun banter at the top of the episode for you.
Just a bit of a lark. Okay, let me get into the first place. This is by Let It Be. The screen is so far away from me today. Let It Be SB. I think, hopefully. The man unintentionally cures his own illness. There's a little description here. A man identified as George, suffering from a severe mental illness and OCD. He was that's a bad sentence. He was washing his hands 100 plus times a day. He had severe depression tied to his OCD, which haunted him. He'd reached a breaking point and decided to end it all at the age of 19. He put a pistol to his head, pulled the trigger, and with a crack fell to the ground. He awoke in the hospital, cured of his own OCD. The bullet he'd fired got lodged in the left side of his temporal lobe. This disengaged his repetitive behavior. He went on to be a straight A student.
Wow. This has a lot of layers.
Yeah.
Because it weirdly spins suicide attempt into like a slightly positive light, which is very odd.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, which is this is both a really uplifting story and the worst message possible.
Yeah.
Being like, well, he shot himself, and that actually fixed all of his problems.
Do you have a problem? Shoot yourself.
Yeah.
I think it's true. It's so interesting. Like you said, it's got so many layers.
Yeah. It would be like, someone solving all their problems by like cheating on their wife. You're like, that's not a good thing to do though in the first place.
Yeah.
But it did weirdly work out for this one guy.
Yeah,
like,
we stopped arguing. She found out, wanted a threesome. Could not highly recommend it enough. I think like for one, let's just talk about how fucking amazing the human brain is. And also not just how amazing it is, but how little we understand of the human brain. It's like, I think there's like no doctor in the world that's like considered putting a bullet in somebody's brain to cure their OCD.
Well, yeah, because they would sound like a madman.
Yeah.
But the evidence would support it.
Exactly.
It's like, OCD, have you considered shooting them just lightly in the head?
Yeah. Don't want to kill them, obviously. Oh my God. It really like if I could shoot myself in the head, Gambo, and because you hear people like gifted people that have some crazy abilities. I was reading actually a post the other day on Reddit that was asking teachers if they'd seen any gifted children and what happened there. And there was some like one guy saying how he was teaching this kid piano, and he memorized like 15 of Bach's compositions and could play them flawlessly just by memory. He's like, that kid is amazing. So I see this as like, well, if you can cure OCD, I could probably shoot myself in a certain way in which I would
learn piano
and do something cool like that.
So you're seeing it similar to like The Matrix, where Neo plugs in and downloads Kung Fu.
He knows Kung Fu.
So you think that the solution might be strategically placed headshots.
Maybe that's what happens in The Matrix. They plug in that thing from behind and it just shoots out little ball bearings, but like aims them at certain lobes.
I wonder if it's like we could remake that movie Limitless.
Yeah.
Where he takes the pills, but instead of taking the pills, he just gets a gun every time and he aims it to a different lobe in his head.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it is so interesting because it feels like obviously there must have been like pressure on a certain point of his brain that like then after being shot unpressurized it. It's like, how does that even it makes it so interesting to think that, well, maybe the people that we are, like there are just different, like if we moved parts of our brain just ever so slightly, we could totally change our personality and who we are.
I do kind of think that the brain, I'm going to use the metaphor of the ocean, right?
Yeah.
So think of the brain like the ocean.
Okay.
And there's like oceanographers and stuff, and they have all these different
sharks,
all these different fishes and sharks and mammals and stuff like mapped out, and they know about them. And that's the human body, right?
Yep.
You like your livers and your kidneys and whatnot. And the brain is like the Mariana Trench, where they're like, we don't know what's down there.
Yeah.
It's a big old mystery that we can't work out. It's fucked down there, and we don't want to know. That's the brain.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know, we think we get it, but then the guy shot himself and he's fixed his OCD. So
yeah, that's right. Also, to further along the analogy, they're like, we'd put a submarine down there, but we know that it would explode the world. We try. We poke and prod a little bit when we're careful to do so, but we might explode the world, so we can't really aggressively explore this. But yeah, very, very interesting. And shoot yourself in the head.
there's an episode title.
Yeah. But there's got to be something. Okay, how about this for Ithora? Like, let's say one day in the very distant future, we understand all there is to know about the brain, and we can help aid our, let's say, like learning progress by manipulating it by shooting certain parts of the brain. Obviously, we've established that that's how to do it.
I do like the idea that it doesn't. There's not a medical instrument that imitates it either. They're like scalpel.
Yeah.
I know. Light.
Revolver.
Pistol.
Yeah. And there's no measurement tool. It's just
one eye closed,
roughly.
roughly aiming it out, being like, about there.
Yeah.
Oh no, I've given him a lisp.
But he does know the alphabet backwards, so
Swings and roundabouts.
no, but okay. So we get to this point where we know everything about the human brain, and it becomes commonplace to just like enhance people's brain, basically from birth.
Yeah.
But then, do you think that because a part of being unique and a lot of, differences between people is, it's just all to do about the brain. And so if we essentially like optimize the brain and we all learn just as efficiently as each other, and we all don't suffer any of the like mental illnesses because we understand how to fix that, or even just being able to develop it at an early age means that you won't even have those problems at any point in your life, then do we lose our uniqueness as humans?
Probably. I do think, especially if it could make you more intelligent. And this is not a slight at religion. Okay. I think it would lead to more science over religion in the world.
Yeah. That is true.
Yeah. And I said that that's not a slight of religion.
Yeah.
But it is.
But that's, it's kind of, where we go. Well, that is kind of true, because it does just feel like the more logic science explains, the less of the illogical side of religion sort of comes out. But yeah, I think that is like an interesting thing that would come out of it. But then also like, do you lose creativity with intelligence, or like with
possibly?
I actually believe that to be a director and a writer today, you have to be really intelligent. Like I actually think if you look at any sort of TV program that's really quite popular, even like a comedy like The Office or something like that, maybe even especially comedy, I don't know, because I think you actually have to be really intelligent to be able to write something that a lot of people like. But if that is lost because everybody else is of the same intelligence or something, or then there's no difference between one person and the other.
Because you're saying like you need to be smart, but you need to be smart to manipulate people into like feeling certain ways. And if everyone can tell what you're doing to manipulate them, then is it less successful? Because everyone's like, I see what he's doing. I see what he's doing there.
Yeah. Or like sometimes things are funny because or good because we just know they are more intelligent than us, and then it's like a surprise, an enjoyable surprise when we get to it.
If you want a good example of that, just Google the writing team behind Futurama.
Yeah,
they had something like 6 PhDs
really on
that writing team.
That's amazing.
And if there was ever like a math joke or a science joke about like a theorem or anything like that, it was legitimately worked out beforehand and was completely accurate. Yeah. A bunch of their people came from like Harvard and MIT and whatnot, and they all wrote for Futurama. So they were writing like jokes about a drunk robot.
Yeah. Just like Rick and Morty, all the science works out.
All the science works out on that one.
But actually, even that, like in its own sense, like obviously it's not based on real intelligent science, but sometimes just the concepts. You're just like, I had never thought about that idea of, if this consequence happened, how that would change the world, like it's just so interesting.
And also, even if the science in the show doesn't necessarily pan out, Dan Harmon's formula for writing is super scientific. He breaks it down into an actual formula that is just a story churning machine. So the fact that Rick and Morty like they don't necessarily all feel the same in the episodes, but they all have the same underlying formula and structure.
Yeah, yeah.
As does every episode of Community.
Yeah.
And those shows couldn't be more different.
Yeah, that's right. I really do think Dan Harmon is quite an intelligent person. Yeah, and you can tell this if you ever listen to his podcast, Harmontown, because he just lets go. Yeah. It's like he just releases all his internal thoughts. And by doing that, you're like, wow, you are so insane, you're a genius.
Yeah, two things become very apparent if you listen to Harmontown. One, you're like, he's a clever guy.
Yeah.
And you're also like, he would be the worst to work for.
Yeah.
The absolute worst.
Yeah. The other reason why I know is because I'm pretty sure he shot himself in the head once. And
unlocked the story structure part of his brain.
Yeah. If only we could find that. if we could work out the podcasting center of the brain, we might actually have a good podcast. Oh, well. All right, Kemba, let's get into Ask Reddit. Ask Reddit. This Ask Reddit is by XVRWLTR. That's a really hard one to pronounce. But it was cross-posted to us by Gone Emotionally. What movie would be better if it didn't have a happy ending?
It's a good question because I love a non-happy ending in a movie.
Yeah.
I also love an ambiguous ending.
Yeah.
I know that frustrates a lot of people when they don't tell you what happens, but I love that.
Yeah.
I think it's great. As long as the actual story is resolved, that is.
Can I say maybe as an example to that, although maybe it's not the best example, but I actually rewatched Inception the other day.
Yep.
Love that movie, by the way.
Great example, I think.
Great, unbelievable movie. But obviously in the end, he spins the spinning top and you're like, is he in a dream?
Yeah. But I think, that works because emotionally speaking, he's happy.
Yeah.
So the story itself is over and then it just leaves you with one lingering question.
Yeah.
Which we were both working in the theater when that was out, I believe.
I think probably,
And one of my favorite things to do was to sneak in the back of a sold-out cinema at the end of Inception.
Yeah.
Because whenever it cut to black, the whole audience would go,
yeah. It was, man, I just legitimately, that is such a good film. Just slightly off topic. Yeah. I really love that game. If you haven't watched it for a minute, go back and watch it. It has kind of like a saying that Rick and Morty, where I feel like they have such interesting concepts sometimes for an episode, and that's the most interesting part. I think the whole concept of Inception is so interesting.
Yeah.
And they do explain away a lot of stuff. Like, oh, well, you can do that in a dream. And you're like, okay. But if you take it for just what they say, the concepts, I think, are just really brilliant.
But I think that works so much better, leaving a question for the audience to discuss afterwards.
Yeah.
And it makes you think back over a lot of things in the film. And I think you need to be pretty confident if you want people to go back and question your film.
Yeah.
Comb over it for clues and stuff. You need to be pretty confident that you've got a pretty tight story.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people who had a problem with that movie.
Oh, me too. I would hear them.
Yeah.
And if they exited the theater, like, bullshit.
Yeah. I remember my dad not particularly liking it. And he was like, but he said something like, but why do they have that machine that allows you to enter dreams? Like, they never explain that.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, they don't have, it's not the point.
It's called suspension of disbelief.
Exactly. Yeah.
How did they clone dinosaurs in Jurassic Park? It's not really the point. They took DNA from a mosquito.
Yeah.
But there's other steps between there, isn't it?
But they explained they spliced together with the frogs, Camper. That's how you can understand the science behind it. Okay? It makes sense.
But it's like, if you're willing to believe, okay, they can clone a dinosaur back to life. I think you can believe, okay, there's a machine that puts people into dreams.
Well, I don't know about that.
Not according to Mr. Allingham.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, what movies would be better if they had a sadder ending? Now, I reckon I know the top answer for this on the Reddit thread. I've not seen the Reddit thread.
All right, I'll click on it.
I bet you the top answer is War of the Worlds, the Tom Cruise movie.
Oh, right. How does that end? I can't even remember.
It ends, I should say it's about halfway through the film. Tom Cruise's son sees a big battle going on with an army, and he runs off, and as he runs over the hill, there's a big explosion, and Tom Cruise is like, oh my God, my son, he's just died.
Right.
And then at the end of the film, seemingly because they tested lower with test audiences, he gets to his destination and then his son just comes out of a door and he's like, "I'm here, Dad." And it's really illogical because a lot of the second half is him overprotecting his daughter because he's lost his son.
Right, yeah.
And it just undoes a lot of that.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I definitely think it's probably like a studio note being like,
Yeah.
they didn't like it when the son died.
Well,
can you bring him back?
Yeah. It was a book beforehand, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, but
I wonder if the ending is the...
No, he doesn't have kids in the book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So the whole thing.
Yeah.
They shot it first without the kids, and it didn't test well. So they put kids in, but they killed one off, and that didn't test well.
It's a pretty loose adaptation. Like the story itself, aliens come to Earth, start shooting down laser beams, etc. That's all the book. But essentially, it's like if that event was happening to someone else.
Yeah.
Because like the book is really satirical about like aristocrats and stuff being like, because it's an English book,
Right, yeah.
Everyone being like, well, these aliens wouldn't attack us, would they? And surely not as a good neighborhood, and like so people don't leave their houses and stuff. And it's kind of like a satire about how the high society don't think anything can touch them, and the lower society are all going into bunkers and stuff like that.
Right,
it loses all of that.
Okay, yeah.
But what if sick big lasers are shooting everyone up?
I read this book, and all I got out of it is that aliens came to Earth.
Also, it's in England, and England is boring.
Yeah, that's right.
What if we put it in Jersey?
But, Kemba, you'll be incorrect. The first most upvoted combat by Wolvo Neal, Rambo's original ending was great, where he ends up killing himself.
He killed himself.
I think I did.
That's how
hear
the book ends. The book that Rambo's based on, he kills himself.
Yeah.
And they shot it, they edited it together, and then at the last minute, he's like, let's change it. Let's make him survive.
We could make Rambo 2.
Well, there's the thing. It's like, I don't even know if he necessarily did it with the idea of being like, we can keep making these.
Yeah.
But it was a last minute decision that then it like became one of his defining franchises.
Yeah.
Same with the original ending to Clerks. Was like a really morbid, dark ending where at the end of the day, because Dante and Randall are the two main characters of Clerks, and the whole thing is like Dante's always like, oh, I'm not supposed to be here today. All this stuff that's going on, I'm not supposed to be here today. And at the end, the day ends, and he's just about to lock up the store, and someone comes in and robs the store and shoots him, and he dies. Being like the ultimate, like, he wasn't even meant to be here, now he's dead. And at the last minute, Kevin Smith is like, oh, it's a bit dark, let's change it. And again, that is like the jumping off point of all of Kevin Smith's films is Clerks, and all of the films tie into that film.
If we ever make a film, Kemper, let's not kill off the main character, just in case we end up making a ton more. Oh my God, it was the second one, Kemper.
War of the Worlds?
War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
And all he says is, War of the Worlds, no way the sun makes it back alive. I love that. That was my big Detroit.
Yep.
Um,
And here's an example of, maybe I won't spoil this, but example of a kind of sad, ambiguous ending to a film is the movie Prisoners with Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, I vaguely remember this. Yeah.
In fact, okay, I'm going to spoil it. So if you want to watch it, because it's really good
it is
film,
a very good movie. I vaguely remember.
Skip like 30 seconds ahead. But Hugh Jackman is trapped underground in like a dungeon cage thing. 'Cause he's been looking for his son and his daughter the whole time.
Yeah.
And Jake Gyllenhaal's the cop that's been investigating it. And at the end, Hugh Jackman's gone missing, but Jake Gyllenhaal's found the son. And he's walking over the crime scene one last time, and he hears a very slight whistle in the distance.
Yeah.
And you just see him stop for just a second, and then it cuts to black.
Yeah.
And the whole question is, does he ever actually investigate that, or does he let it go? Will Hugh Jackman ever live, or will he die in this weird dungeon?
Yeah.
I think it's great because it brings up so many questions that you just have to think about yourself.
Yeah, it's cool. How about Honey, I Blew Up the Kid never makes the kid normal size again? He just, like, everything's fine, but he just grows up being real big.
At the end, he's like, the lesson is some things are irreversible.
Yeah, that's right. I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another one. This is by J-Lo Mohoko.
J-Lo Mohoko.
Mohokob. God. Okay. JLMO hookup. What is dangerous to forget?
Dangerous to forget.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's dangerous to forget that the Wu-Tang Clan aren't nothing to fuck with. And the moment you think that, you forget it, and you try and fuck with the Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah.
Dangerous, man.
I have on occasion forgotten that.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Lucky you didn't fuck with them.
The funny thing is I'm on my way to fuck with them. And then I remember again.
You just tried to get out of your car. You're like, there's the Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
Opening the door and you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Nunchucks in hand. Yeah. Then saved my life more times.
But I would say, like, because I actually saw this through the week on Reddit, and I was so disappointed with, like, the top few things are like, your medication. It's like, well, yeah, but don't be logical with this.
It's a lame answer.
Yeah. Of course, that's obviously very dangerous to forget.
Eating.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I'd hate to forget to eat. I think there's one that trumps everything, Cambo, which is forgetting to ride a bike. Everybody's like, it's just like riding a bike. You're like, oh my God, I forgot how to ride a bike.
So I've forgotten that. I'm definitely going to forget this.
I'm not going to be able to remember this. I think that's the height of remembering. People always use that example. Okay, if you can't remember to ride a bike, you're fucked.
Yeah,
you can't remember anything else.
And maybe that should be like a bit of a litmus test for people.
Yeah.
Of like, I haven't ridden a bike in ages.
Yeah.
So maybe I have forgotten how to ride a bike. So every couple years, hop on a bike, go, all right, yeah, I remember how to do that. Therefore, I remember most other things.
Yeah. I'm not on the bottom rung of society. I should be fine with everything else. Yeah. Otherwise, you know what? Not much.
Yeah. We forget everything all the time.
There's lots of stuff to forget. It's probably not that dangerous.
Yeah. We forgot what Lillip was.
Yeah. Is that dangerous? Maybe.
Time will tell.
The best thing is if you get something that might end up being dangerous, you forget that there's a danger.
That's true. But that's just ignorance.
Yeah. That's why I live such a happy life.
Happy but dangerous life.
Yeah.
You're walking on a tightrope and you don't even realize every day.
Yeah, that's right. It's like in the Matrix where Cypher tries to go back into the Matrix and he says ignorance is bliss.
Yep.
He's trying to, and he says, I don't want to remember anything.
Yep.
Just forget. If you just realistically, I could have known that the Matrix existed at one point in my life, and I'm glad that I've forgotten that. Wasn't a danger to me.
Yeah.
I wasn't the one.
Oh, were you?
Oh, and the machines got to me.
Yeah.
Oh, that could be a cool ending, right? To the Matrix. Actually, you never saw the second or third Matrix.
No, I saw the second. I never saw the third.
Oh, you never saw the third.
I saw the room with all the TVs and the guy talked for about half an hour.
Yeah, that was not fun.
Yeah.
But before that,
Yeah.
where Neo's fighting all those other Agent Smiths, it was pretty cool.
Yeah. The big highway chase, I remember being quite good.
Yeah.
I remember just like at the ending of it, like it's a real...
Yeah.
Because it was quite interesting until then.
They had some like amazing lore in regard to their story and that universe, and like they had thought of it well past everything that they had mentioned in the movie. Like there was the Animatrix series. Animatrix series.
I only recently
really
discovered that apparently there's hints at like werewolves and vampires and stuff in that universe as well.
Yeah.
Like it vaguely hints at the fact that werewolves and vampires and zombies and stuff are all real in some sense, and they're all like different characters are embodiments of those different creatures. And I didn't know.
Yeah, there's lots of
Also a lot of underground raves.
Yeah,
The Wachowskis are leaning hard into the fact that the future will involve a lot of underground raves.
Yeah. That's where I hope the future's going. Okay, Cambo, let's get into Today I Advice. So now it's time for Today I Learned. What's the intro to that? Today I Learned. And also sometimes advice. This Today I Learned is by Master Lols. And, okay, sometimes I need to give myself credit, Cambo.
Okay.
I got this one. I mean, I get most of them.
Yeah.
But then I saw it was cross-posted to us by Metaphor.
Oh.
Okay.
So what you're saying is Metaphor you gotta really up it because Nelson's finding them before you.
I'm finding them before you. I'll give him half a credit.
And that's just because he's feeling generous.
Yeah. I am a benevolent podcast host. Okay. Today I learned that Stephen Baldwin has a tattoo in his left shoulder of the initials HM for Hannah Montana. He got it because Miley Cyrus told him he could cameo on the show if he had the initials tattooed on his body. He was never given the opportunity to cameo and now regrets getting the tattoo.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
I love so many things about this. I love that they were clearly trying to... One, why did he want a cameo on Hannah Montana so badly?
Why?
Two, they were clearly trying to blow him off by like, look, I know, get a tattoo and then we'll let you on.
Yeah.
Thinking that would like dissuade him enough.
Yeah.
But his want to be on Hannah Montana was so much that he was like, not a problem.
Yeah. And then, but also, I would never like suspect that, like if the head of a TV show, like I wouldn't go to like Sarah Michelle Gellar, right, and be like, hey, can I come on the show?
Yeah.
I feel like I would know that I would need to go to Joss Whedon. Somebody that has a bit more power than just the lead actor.
Yeah.
I feel like the lead actor is probably great at what they do.
Yeah.
But has zero power.
Does
getting
he
people
think
on.
that Miley Cyrus writs the episodes?
Yeah.
And then casts the episodes?
Yeah.
Probably directs the episodes.
Scouts locations. Yeah. I just think like that it seems such an insane leap of logic.
Yeah.
Like that's how desperate he was to get on. He was like, I'll talk to I'll start with Miley because that's all I know.
Especially at the time, like Miley Cyrus, like, in her teens when she was doing Hannah Montana.
Yeah.
So I can imagine him like rushing up to her at a party, like shaking her by the shoulders, being like, "It's you! Let me on your show! Let me on your show!"
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like she was some wheeling and dealing Hollywood higher up, which maybe she is now. She's grown up a little bit. She probably produces things now and whatever.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, you're going to a teen star and demanding to go onto her show. The thing I want to know about Stephen Baldwin is every job he ever books, is there a moment when he turns up onto set and he thinks, they probably wanted Alec?
Yeah. I mean,
I wonder what Alec was doing that he couldn't do this.
Yeah, that's right. I would always think that if I was, in this, like the Hemsworths.
Yep.
If you're Liam Hemsworth.
Let alone if you're Luke Hemsworth. If you're Luke Hemsworth, you're like, they tried for Chris.
Yeah.
He said no. So then they tried for Liam, and even he said no. And I'm here to pick up the scraps.
Yeah. And I'll take him. It is true, actually. Maybe I would be okay with it if one of my siblings was super famous and then I was just sort of moderately famous by association, that I could make money from that.
The equivalent here is you've got Alec Baldwin, Stephen Baldwin, and then Billy Baldwin.
Oh.
Billy Baldwin is the Luke Hemsworth.
Okay.
If Stephen Baldwin turns it down, that's when Billy Baldwin strikes.
Yeah, okay. That's good. And at least I know the hierarchy if I ever want to hire a Baldwin.
You go big. You go for Alec first.
Yeah.
He'll probably say no because he's a very famous man and probably very rich.
Maybe we should try on this podcast. See if Billy Baldwin really is so low that he will come onto this podcast.
So if we can get Billy Baldwin on this podcast, what does that mean? Does that legitimize this show in some way?
No.
But it would be fun.
Yeah.
If anyone out there knows Billy Baldwin, get in touch.
We still need to start with Alec.
Yeah. If anyone
we need to start with Alec, and when he says no, we say, "Can you tell your brother?"
Well, here's the thing: if anyone knows Billy Baldwin, tell him to get in contact because he'll know Alec Baldwin.
Yeah. Okay, that's true. But what I was going to ask about this is there a TV show, whether you're in front or behind the camera, that you'd be willing to get a tattoo for? With only like, I'm going to say even just a moderate, kind of agreement that you think that might actually go through.
But he just has an initial, where was it, on his shoulder, did it say?
Left shoulder, yep.
Left shoulder. So I'm assuming you pop a t-shirt on and it's probably only going to be like a couple, maybe like a centimeter length or whatever.
I think you just try really hard to marry someone with the initials HM.
Well, but like, I feel like that would be pretty easy to cover as well, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think now what the show, because I would probably do it.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of what the show would be. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be like my favorite show because I really like the show Barry, but like that's not that exciting to be in because you just, you know, you're probably just in a backlot in LA somewhere wearing a t-shirt and jeans.
Yeah.
But The Mandalorian, for example, maybe I'd get
cool
some kind
stuff.
of cool Star Wars costume or, you know.
Yeah.
So I would want to leverage it. Like if I could get an action figure out of it is the ultimate, really.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I would. That's true. I mean, yeah, I definitely would. I would cover myself in tattoos of just initials if it meant
Plus,
being on a show.
Mandalorian, that's just an M. I can say it's for me.
Yeah, no, but you'd be. Does he have a name other than Mandalorian? No.
I think he does say his name, but I don't remember what it was.
What if it was BY for Baby Yoda?
It's fine.
Yeah,
Bye.
he's cute. And bye, guys. You spelled it wrong. No. Okay, Cameron, let's get into another one.
Yep.
This is advice. It's by Tomato314.
Oh.
It was in the subreddit shitty advice, just so you know. How do I know which of my children are essential?
It's a good question and one that's plagued people for a long time, though no one wants to speak about it.
Yeah.
The thing about children, I think, is the return on investment takes a long time.
Yeah.
Probably 18 years plus.
Yeah.
So I would say whichever is closer to returning on investment
Yeah.
is probably the most essential. So if you've got a kid that's like 15 and a kid that's like 10, you're going to have to wait less time for the 15-year-old to start get a good career and take care of you.
What if the 10-year-old is a really good singer, though?
Yeah, okay. So, yeah. So if they become uber famous.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you get a lot of stories like, I brought my parents a house when I hit it big.
Yeah.
Okay. If one of your kids is showing particular talent,
Yeah.
exploit them.
Yeah,
First and
yeah,
foremost.
yeah.
But if they're all run of the mill, go for the oldest because it's going to be the shortest time between them costing you money and them taking care of you.
Yeah, that's right. It's a good strategy. Mine is actually to lock them all in a basement.
I like it.
And then just kind of...
Oh, there's a second step.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah. I mean, because I think the thing is, kids aren't really essential. You know, you don't really need any of them.
No.
But if you really wanted to figure it out, you lock all of them in a basement. And then if one day you're just like, oh, I really needed Joey because he's really good at cutting the lawn, then you know he's essential. You need to cut them out entirely.
Yeah.
And then when you're like, oh, I need this child,
Yeah.
that's how you know they're essential.
Yeah.
If you never need one of those children in the basement, then...
Yeah, maybe you'd be looking at your TV being like, how do I get it onto that one setting?
Yeah.
Joey always did that.
Yeah, he knows.
Interesting.
Okay, I'll let him out.
So what you do is you exclude them from your life until you get to a point where you realize, oh, I need them for this particular thing.
Yeah.
And slowly introduce them back into your life. And if there's one kid that never gets introduced back into your life, well,
they die of starvation, obviously.
Another thing, I guess, would be to set up some kind of Lord of the Flies scenario in which you abandon them somewhere, come back maybe 2 weeks later and see who has become the de facto leader.
Yeah.
And being like, well, you are really showing yourself with some great leadership capabilities.
Yeah, that is true. But
And if one of them had become completely subservient, you're like, well, you'll stay.
well, I don't know, Camber. Do you want somebody that might question your authority as a parent, or do you want this subservient child that's going to cook you food and stuff?
That goes from parent to parent.
Yeah.
At that point, when you go back to collect them, you choose which of those you would prefer.
Yeah. You decide how they've ruled. You know?
You've been a fair and just leader.
Yeah. I'd go for the subservient child every time. And then, because then you could say, hey, I'll send you back out there unless you give me breakfast in bed.
Yeah. That's not bad.
Can't wait to be a parent. So many opportunities. All right, Kevin, let's get into shower thoughts.
Shower thoughts, 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 shower thoughts, 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 shower thoughts, 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 shower thoughts, thoughts, thoughts.
This shower thought was by Wackapus, but also cross-posted to us by Just Judging Reddit. Zero G unlocks the possibility for double-sided pizza.
Interesting. Yeah, but so it needs to be cooked in zero G.
No, yeah, actually, yeah. I didn't think about this until you said that.
Yeah. So you
Which
need.
I feel like it's got to be hard.
Yeah, I don't know enough about zero gravity to know how an oven would cope.
I feel like you're not meant to have like. I feel like an oven would be. It's too high a risk with the heat.
I feel like you could do double-sided pizza now. The trick is nothing that's going to droop and cook it on its side, because you hold it by the end, by the crust.
Yeah.
So it's because obviously the thing is like you put it down and you're going to be putting topping on something.
Yeah.
But if you present it on its side with some kind of like CD holder mechanism to hold it up,
Yeah.
you could probably do double-sided pizza.
Well, no,
in the current gravity.
I'm thinking I am not holding this pizza, and it's floating.
Well, yeah, that's true. But I'm saying
then
I'm saying that's the zero gravity thing.
Yeah, okay.
But you can still do it because pizza has a natural handle to hold, which isn't the topping. So like, because here's the thing: I've got a slice of pizza before, and then a second slice of pizza, and I put them together, both face out, and eaten it that way.
Yeah.
It's called a pizza sandwich. It's great.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's true. So
Which
if
is
you just
essentially
did it the other way
double-sided
back,
pizza.
then yeah, okay. Yeah, that's very good.
What I'm saying is, don't wait for zero gravity to make this dream a reality.
Yeah. I was thinking about all the other double-sided things that would be a benefit.
Such as?
I thought you were going to take over and be like, oh yeah, like a clock, huh? Don't have to have it on a wall, Cambo.
It's more convenient.
Just a floating clock.
around. Like, what's the time? Where is the clock?
It's
just float around looking for the clock.
It's a 6-sided cube that just floats around. No matter where you are, you can look at it, Cambo.
That's not bad. I don't mind the 6-sided cube clock.
Great. See? So many great things could be happening in zero gravity. Sex, Cambo, if both parties are quite, strong-willed and they feel as though they need to be on top, technically, you're both on top.
Well, I think the problem with this, because I feel like this comes up as jokes a lot of like sex in zero gravity must be amazing. But I think people forget that a lot of sex is like friction. And that would be much harder in zero gravity because I feel like you'd constantly be going apart. So you'd have to work overtime. It'd be so tiring to have sex in zero gravity.
Yeah. Not for me, Cambo. I get it done pretty quick.
That's another point is you would need to. You don't want to. This is going to get quite graphic. So if anyone's listening in a car with kids or whatever, turn it down for a bit.
Okay.
If you were to finish the act and one, not have protection on, and two, not be inside the partner, that becomes a real hazard real quick. Because that's now floating.
That's floating. Yeah. That's not good. Is there a possibility where you do the pull-out method because that's obviously foolproof, but one of the eggs also comes out because zero gravity, and then it still mixes in the air,
and then goes back inside?
There's that risk. That's
and that's a real risk.
That's a real risk. You know what? Don't do the pull-out method if you're in space.
And I also just want to say I apologize that your post about pizza turned into this.
It's just not where you expected that to go. Or us, to be fair.
I want to know. Just anyone that's ever cross-posted a thing that they wanted us to talk about. Have we ever gone where you expected us to go with the post?
Yeah. Okay, here's another one. This is by Yoda's Chick. It's actually Yoda's Chico Stick. Spider-Man is proof that sewing is still an essential skill for men.
I feel like in this day and age, Spider-Man probably could have got his thing off Etsy
Yeah, I definitely.
He would have been like, "This is my basic design. You know, can you make that for me?" 4 to 6 weeks later, he's got his costume.
Yeah, exactly. It's so easy to like get some sort of producer from like Alibaba or something.
Yeah,
You spend like 90 cents on 100 costumes.
He's like, it is cheaper if I get a whole lot of them, which is probably better because I will ruin them.
Yeah. And actually, all you need to do really is become so famous of a hero that they start selling the costumes.
Yeah, and you get like a real high-end replica.
Yeah. You it's still like costuming because there'll be people out there like put effort about. Oh, this is actually good armor. That'd be. Oh my
In
god!
fact,
Okay, let's start writing this down.
Here's what I would do if I was Spider-Man, because obviously he's a photographer for the Daily Bugle as well.
Yeah.
I would take very high-resolution photos of my entire suit from top to bottom for reference on the internet, so people could make one-to-one. Absolute perfect replicas of my suit, and then I don't have to make another one. I just buy them.
yeah, that's right. So easy, and you really could have better. It's like how in the newest Spider-Man where Iron Man makes Spider-Man's suit. Like you could end up having better upgrades if other people, smarter people.
That's what I mean. Like in the newer versions of this, they've kind of done away with this because before that he was wearing a hoodie and some sweatpants. He didn't sew anything. He just put some goggles on his head. And then it took the billionaire to be like, I've got an entire design team that'll take care of this for you. So I would say that it's actually become non-essential again.
Yeah, exactly. We don't need sewing. We just need young Chinese people that are being exploited in another country.
Or like the hustle entrepreneurial like attitude of Etsy. Where people are like, I'm making high quality stuff. You know, I'm an artisan kind of a creator. As long as you got those people around, you could get away with no sewing.
Yeah. But obviously all of them would be female because because this shower thought is about the fact that sewing is still an essential skill for men. So you would obviously not support the men that are sewing.
to further disprove this shower thought.
This shower thought. Yeah. You don't want to...
You'd be sexist against your own gender. But like, I'm not having a man sew my thing. Purely to prove this one random person on the internet wrong.
Yeah. Okay, here's another one. This is by Tom52. Did you die? Okay. This is one where I feel like, every now and again, there's just a shower thought that you're like, it's a good shower thought.
Okay.
Did you die is a question never asked before video games.
Well, I think it could be asked sarcastically before video games, being like, say, I was driving erratically in a car.
Yeah.
And you're like, what's wrong with you? That's so dangerous. I'm like, did you die?
Yes.
And you're like, well, no. Like, then it's fucking fine, isn't it?
Yes. Okay, that's true. Sarcastically, it definitely works.
Yeah.
But
Earnestly,
literally less so. Yeah. Okay, that's actually a good point.
Yeah. Right back to him.
Okay.
Hey, idiot.
You didn't even consider this possibility.
I'm sure there's an actually as like one of the responses because that's what Reddit does.
Definitely.
So, actually sarcastically you could.
Yeah, definitely. I was trying to think about if there was any other, like phrases that sort of seem like they could be common, but also, like
hello. Before the phone.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Or I think even like, like picture late, like take a picture, it'll last longer. You used to have to say paint a picture, it'll last longer. It's just far.
Yeah.
It's way harder to do.
I also think I find it really interesting when brands become a phrase. So people will say, "Oh, just Photoshop it."
Yeah,
when really they just mean edit the photo.
Yeah,
like if using Photoshop or not, or Escalator. Escalator is a brand name.
Hoover,
yeah. Velcro, Blue Tack, like these are all brand names, but they've also become a way of describing something as well, which I find really interesting.
That's how you know you've made it.
Yeah.
Camper. Is there a way that we can get people to say, sure, Reddit on Reddit podcast?
Yeah. And is it a good or a bad thing?
I mean, it's definitely a bad thing. I mean, like, the quality of this cheese is Reddit on Reddit podcast.
Or like perhaps if This is what I want. If you've done something half-assed where you've taken someone else's idea, put your own spin on it, and claimed that is a segment, you could have podnapped it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
So, like, for instance, we watched the movie Deep Impact the other night, and it got me thinking about Deep Impact and then Armageddon. Very similar movies about trying to explode an asteroid that's coming to Earth, released within months of each other.
Yeah.
But Armageddon was the second one. So did they podnap Deep Impact?
They could have podnapped.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it.
Obviously, we'll have to
everybody
trade.
just start using that, please.
Obviously, we'll have to trademark that so we can make some sweet coin on it.
Oh yeah. You have to pay us $5 every time you use that phrase. Okay, Kemba, let's get into. Are we doing podnapping?
No, well, we've got so many questions to get through,
okay.
and also I didn't organize a podnapping.
Okay, all right. We've just decided we're going to go straight into.
No, I got you. We're not doing it.
Suckers. Ask me anything. We're listeners of the show, just like you, listener, can write in and ask us anything you want.
Yes, got one here from Hallie. Says, I told you I was planning on writing in more. I'm determined to become your Ohio correspondent and friend of the show. First off, Cambo, I finally took your advice and started watching Barry. I love it. It's the perfect after-work show. Just a side note, have you noticed that there's a very small, infrequent trend of people writing in being like, I watched Barry. I can remember about maybe 3 of them now.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I always appreciate
You should
that.
get royalties or something.
I think I should.
You're an influencer. You're a social media influencer, Kemba.
Hit me up, Bill Hader. Question time. Has anyone ever hated your guts? Why did they hate you, and when did this happen? Hope you're both doing well, Hallie. I find it interesting that after kind of shot-gutting the show, as she must have done, she's decided, well, someone obviously must hate them.
Yeah.
They're so irritable in such a way.
This does make sense. Yeah. It's not about has anyone ever hated your guts, more like how many have hated your guts.
Probably.
But you don't know of anyone in particular?
I'm not 100%. I've got vibes from people before that I'm like, I don't think you like me.
What? Who? And why did you get the vibe?
Well, okay. For instance, there's like a head trainer at my gym.
Yeah.
I don't think he hates me, but I don't think he likes me either.
Just get the vibe. Yeah.
Like for instance, oftentimes you pair up with people or they'll assign you to a station, and so often he just forgets me. To the point where I have to be like, hey, he's like, oh, yeah, sorry, man. Yeah, you're there or you're here or whatever like that. It's like just a couple things like that where I'm like, I just don't think you like. I just don't think you vibe with me very well.
Yeah, it's so funny, isn't it?
But I don't know
because
for sure.
It doesn't even take much to like, you're right, like not vibe with somebody.
Yeah.
I feel like I've probably done that to people that I've just met where I'm like, I just don't really like you. I don't necessarily know why. You're probably a lovely person to other people, but
like that doesn't. I guess that doesn't necessarily mean that when I walk in the morning, he's like, God damn it, he's here. You know, like I don't know if he hates me. But I definitely think he doesn't vibe with me. Yeah,
maybe. If maybe your payments to the gym keep getting cancelled. So it's not coming in again. Sorry, you can't come in until you've paid, and better fix that up at some point. I think, probably like definitely. There's people that I've like rubbed the wrong way and haven't.
Oh, for sure. We're very irritable.
Yeah,
and I think that like we both like in this show, for instance, we're always like, look at us, look at our opinions on things, which is a real way to get people to be like, this fucking why do we care what these two think about the riots in America?
From this show alone, we would have had so many people just hate our guts.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we've had like,
we've had bad reviews.
Yeah, look, check our reviews. Those people hate our guts.
Yeah, one of them, and the thing is, they didn't name which of us it was, but one of the reviews just says, "What an annoying laugh."
Yeah, that's right.
And I don't know if it's you or me, or we both have annoying laughs, but they rated us 1 star. We rubbed them the wrong way.
Yeah. They hate our guts.
Yeah.
I do remember in high school, some guy definitely hating my guts. Actually, probably there was 2 people. One was he was the ex-boyfriend of my girlfriend, and at the time, and and he ended up cheating. She ended up cheating on me with him a few times. But then there was like this back and forth thing, and I ended up with her like kind of again, and like forgave her for the cheating. And like we just had this rivalry between each other, and like got into a fight once.
Yeah,
Cambo.
well, I've had like girlfriend and new guy rivalry before, and I'm sure that they hated me.
Yeah,
You know
exactly.
what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. Of course, people hate us.
I remember because we did get into one physical fight and like a few probably verbal ones.
Yep.
But the funny thing was like this girl that I dated, just like it was just very interesting as one of my first relationships, knowing afterwards that she was really manipulative and like really wanted to. Liked drama for sure, like no doubt in my mind.
It's a good class to take in high school.
And then exactly. And then after that, and I just literally one day just kind of woke up and was like, "What am I doing in this relationship?" and ended up breaking up with her. And I remember like a few years afterwards, randomly a friend made friends with him, and then we spoke one day at this like outing where we were all together, and we were just like good friends, and we were talking about how insane she was and how like we actually weren't that different particularly between each other. And we like I really like I like the guy now, like I respect him quite a lot. If I was to see him in the street, I'd probably say hi and
tip your hat.
Yeah, exactly. But there was the time that we just totally hated each other.
It does no good hating, doesn't it? I think love everyone.
Love everyone.
Obviously not one particular podcast.
Yeah, we know. Another one. Okay, I should do this one.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is a short one. This is by Zachary. Dear Nelson and Michael, if you say Duke and Duke, do they sound different? Salutations from Canada, Zachary.
Yeah. Well,
Did I say them differently?
No, you said them the same,
I
but
said them pretty similar.
there are people that say Duke and Duke.
I think I still, I don't know whether I did it then, but in my mind, I have this very soft D. It's like Duke and then Duke.
Oh, okay.
I feel like the J is harder.
Yeah.
But Duke is like it has a D.
It's similar to, I've noticed watching The Office. Character Dwight, right? Everyone says Dwight except for Jim says Dwight.
Yeah,
and it's kind of like that with Duke and Duke, I think.
Yeah.
Like you add like a little Duke.
Yeah.
Duke.
So, Duke and Duke.
I
Duke
think,
and Duke.
I think
now
that
I'm thinking about it too
I
much.
think that I do emphasize the D quite a bit in Duke.
Duke. That's what
Because do
I
you call
often
it
say.
Duke Nukem or Duke Nukem?
Yeah, so you're like Duke Nukem.
So I say Duke Nukem.
Duke Nukem. Duke Nukem. There is a very silent, subtle D. Anyway.
It's kind of like like a sand dune and the month June. Dune and June.
Sand dune. June.
Because again, I think it's June. Like there's a little D June.
I say that one more closer together than I reckon I say Duke and Duke. June. Sand dune. June.
Oh, Zach, you've broken the podcast.
I can't go on anymore.
We do have another one here from Carlson. Hey guys, I've listened to your recent episode and I think you've actually gone up in quality by like 3%. Remember how I was binging your show? I stopped at 1:30 because I got sick of hearing your bad jokes and rambling for 3 hours a day or 2 to 3 shows.
It's fair enough.
Yeah, it makes complete sense.
Hey, Saggats.
In answer to your question, Hallie, Carlson, I will now proceed to listen to your podcast like a normal person, 1 episode a week. Anyway, on the AMA, what do you think of dabbing, yeet, and other modern... It says yet, but I think it means yeet.
I was like, yet? I don't know. Oh my God. Kids are doing things that I don't know.
Unless yet is something that we don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think of dabbing, yeet, and other modern slang? If you could force any one person to dab, who would it be? 404, not your cousin, Carlson. I'm pretty indifferent to it. Like, I don't do it personally, but I could care less if kids do it.
I think that's like, I definitely feel as though we are too old for, like, I don't know what it is, right? Because when we were younger, can you think of, because I can't even think of what the equivalent to dabbing was when we were younger, and if there was anything.
Probably yo-yos.
Yeah, but I mean like a body movement as such, because
it was
even now
drawing that weird S. You know that weird S that everyone drew?
That's actually very true. Yeah. That was everywhere.
Because sometimes you get a guy and he just drew on them freehand. He didn't have to do the little formula.
Yeah, he didn't have to do the three lines.
And he'd be like,
I remember,
one day.
I remember the amount of times I used to accidentally do it backwards. Like, oh, shit. But other than that, like a body movement or something. Because even now, there's
I feel
things
like
like
some weird thumb trick where people would like twist their hands in certain ways.
Oh yeah, that's true. I know this one where it's meant to look
you're
like
doing
a
it now.
flog.
You like loop all your fingers together.
Yeah, but I feel like it wasn't like, I don't know. But then maybe it's just because we grew up with less social media and such. So even if we were doing those things,
our dabbing was that weird finger interlacing thing you were just doing, and our fidget spinners was yo-yos.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because obviously, like Fortnite brought on a lot of like those dances, like the flossing is a particular one like that. I feel like,
and then they stole a lot of dances as well.
Yeah. Well, exactly. But so what do I think of it? Yeah, I don't really care.
Yeah,
too
I don't
much.
care. But if you could make anyone dab, who would you make dab?
My dad, just because it'd be funny.
I want someone with whoever has the most like reverence and prestige, and I want to make them dab to really bring them down. You know?
Oh, okay. I see what you mean.
So it's
like, because in general, it's probably
it's like were he still alive, Nelson Mandela would be great.
Okay,
because he holds himself so well, and he's such an important figure.
Yeah,
you're like, it'd be funny to see him dab, obviously.
Yeah, that's true. Mother Teresa, another one which would have been great.
Yep. Maybe the Queen.
Yeah, the Queen.
I mean, we could give a shit about the Queen, but we know that she has such authority that it would be quite funny that at the end of one of her like televised Christmas things, she just dabs off screen.
Especially because it's just like a little bit old now. You're like, oh, she sort of tried to keep up with the kids, but it's outdated.
Yeah.
I think that's what it makes.
She's
so
probably
funny.
still on What's Up.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Okay, we've got one last one here, and it's by Hazim. Oi, mates. In brackets, working on my Aussie slang.
It's good. It convinced me.
You've done well.
Mainly because you said it in your
I
Australian
said
accent.
it. Yeah.
Because it would sound unnatural coming with the American accent, I think. Like, oi, mate.
Oi, mate.
Mate, right?
Oi, mate. I still can't even. It's hard to
I feel like Americans would emphasize the E, mate.
Mate? Oi.
Mate. How do we do? Let us know.
Anyway,
leave a 5-star review and let us know how we did.
Yeah. Was the infertility plot story you're thinking of? Oh, in Inferno. Yeah. So this was obviously a few weeks ago. Yeah. By Dan Brown, or the infertility in the TV version of The Handmaid's Tale. I haven't seen enough of that to know if that turned out to be the plot or just natural. So, funnily enough, Stacey, Cambo's girlfriend, afterwards sent me a message after she listened to the episode and said, "Are you thinking of Dan Brown's Inferno?" And then it annoyed me because I was like, I have to now find what this TV show is, and it is. Oh no! Now I've forgotten the name of it. It is.
So, but it's not Inferno.
But it's not Inferno. It was a TV show. It was actually a UK TV show. And it was, I'm actually going to have to look on this past messages.
Do you want me to pad?
Pad.
Oh my god, I'm being podnapped! Podnapping.
There you go, Nelson.
Can you pad again?
Hang on.
So now it's time for...
Okay, but so the point was that it is actually the plot, as it turns out, of Inferno by Dan Brown.
Yes.
And as we didn't know, it's also part of the plot of The Handmaid's Tale.
Yes.
But neither of those were
Neither is the
thing
ones
that
that
you
I'm
think
thinking of.
Which means it's more of a literary trend than either of us ever thought.
Yeah.
Was like the infertility plot to world domination, which means that screenplay we've been writing is now void.
God damn it. Oh, God, this is going to annoy me. Okay, anyway, I'll write about... Utopia! I think it's called Utopia.
Okay.
Canberra, pat again.
Okay. Well, Utopia, not to be confused with the Australian political comedy, it's like a sci-fi British drama series, right?
Yeah. Let me just double check. It is UT. Oh, no. British series? Yep. Utopia.
Okay.
Yep. The British version
Now,
TV series, and I think it was canned as well, apparently. But I really liked the story, and yeah.
Now, Hazim, I need to ask, was that 4 minutes worth it?
Was that good? Was that good?
Was that good?
Would you describe this podcast as a Reddit on Reddit podcast? Okay. Anyway, hope all is well down under.
That's the first sentence of the email. Oh, boy.
Are we up over for you guys, or do you think of yourselves as being on top and we're down under to you?
It's a good question. I think that Australia also sees itself at the bottom.
Yeah. We are trying to make our way to the top.
We're that subservient kid that's stranded on the island.
Yeah. We always consider ourselves down under. I think that we kind of like that because it sounds like we're like gritty and
what are they doing down there? We'll never tell.
Exactly. He says, I'm writing this at 4 a.m. unable to sleep. I submitted a post for middle name voting. Oh, yes. A small measure of uprising against your nefarious plot. Was it only listeners who don't vote the ones who get charged, or anyone in the world who doesn't vote, regardless of podcast subscription /listening status? I'm going to try and fall asleep again. Hazim. Well, I think as established previously, you found a loophole, and we have to unfortunately go ahead with it.
Again, for new listeners, we put up a poll that people could vote for what we would change our middle names to be. And we said the penalty if you didn't vote would be a $20 fine.
Yep.
But then we couldn't have been clearer. We urged people not to vote because we would prefer the fine. We would prefer to collect 20. And then people had the audacity to go against this and vote on our new middle names, which we were livid about.
Very, very annoyed. But we do have to change them legally. Have you done yours yet?
Yeah, of course.
Michael, Party Pies.
It may take some time with COVID, but it's definitely in the works.
Yeah.
The thing is, it is everyone in the world owes us. However, even the listeners of this show, we're having a hard time getting that $20 off. So everyone in the world, I'm not holding my breath. We would settle for just everyone that listens.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be great. Okay, so I just remembered that we had one last one here. I'm going to do it quickly, kind of out of order. This one is by Tristan. He said, "Hey, I have a random write-in question for the podcast. What is your opinion on comedy music like Bo Burnham?"
I love Bo Burnham. Are you familiar with Bo Burnham?
I actually can't remember. I need to look at his face. But in general, I actually quite like the comedy music. Weird Al Yankovic. I grew up with. I feel like
I would say that if you're a fan of Bo Burnham, it's a very high chance you would be a fan of Tim Minchin. And it would really surprise me if Bo Burnham isn't a huge fan of Tim Minchin. Because his style is very similar. It's kind of like this neurotic guy that sings these kind of like beautiful songs that are also weird and specific and comedic. And actually very good songs in their own right. But are also quite funny. If you're a fan of Bo Burnham, check out Tim Minchin, because I dare say that Tim Minchin is one of the main influences on Bo Burnham.
Yeah, definitely. Tim Minchin's a great one.
And also, if you've never heard of Bo Burnham, look up a song that he sings called Art is Dead. all about the realities of being a kind of self-obsessed celebrity.
Yeah.
It's both really funny and kind of sad.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah. I think I actually think I almost prefer, if it's done well, comedy via song than I do like just regular stand up. In fact, Tenacious D is kind of like another one I quite enjoy. Most of this. Like I think if you can pull off a very funny song, it's better than like one very funny joke or something like that. So yeah, definitely like all that stuff, and share it if you got it, I guess.
Share it if you got it.
Money, we mean. Share your money if you've got it.
Please, dear God.
Just in case that wasn't clear. Sounded like I meant the comedy music. I meant money. All right, so that's it for Ask Me Anything. So thank you, Tristan. Thank you, Hazim.
Yep.
Hallie, Zachary, and Carson. Thank you all for writing in. If you would like to write into us, you can do so. Reddit podcast, READIT podcast at gmail.com. You can also reach us at Facebook, Twitter, and the subreddit. It's all READIT podcast.
Or if you want to get really manipulative, I would say write in to the Welcome to Patchwork podcast, but say, can you pass this on to Reddit? That'd be a good power move.
Yeah, that is a great power move, actually. Also, something that we occasionally try to bring up every now and again, which we, try to put an emphasis on, is we'd really love it if you could share this podcast with your friends, let them know about it. We care more about that than if you're just rating it.
And again, we can't stress this enough. If you hate the show, share it with your enemies.
Share it with your enemies.
Let them suffer.
Yeah. We want more people to hate our guts. Yeah. we only know that we've probably got a few.
Yeah. No such thing as bad press for us.
Exactly.
And again, we also that is probably the most important thing, is just tell someone about it. That would really help us. We do it in a spare bedroom. We're not fancy boys with all fancy podcast studios.
Yeah.
So telling people is actually probably the best thing you can do. Second best thing you can do is probably rate and subscribe to the show.
Yeah.
We like to tell people to do something odd and then leave a 5-star rating. So again, feel free to leave whatever you want in our review. It literally doesn't matter. You can tell Nelson whether or not you think Surprise Interview was the best segment in the world or not.
You don't need to, because I know already the answer to that. So don't even worry about it. Just know that I know.
But that would be great too.
So thanks for listening, and we will read you later.